I, my beloved, and he is mine. His banner over me is love. I, my beloved, and he is mine. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. He brings me to his banqueting table. His banner over me is love. And he walks me to his banqueting table. His banner over me is love. And he brings me to his banqueting table. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. Yashaya is the rock of my salvation. His banner over me is love. Yashaya is the rock of my salvation. His banner over me is love. Yashaya is the rock of my salvation. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love.
Praise AHAYAH. Children of Israel are here. Mount Hor. We're going inside the tomb to pray for our brother Aaron. Holy land, Qadash. We are in Qadash. And as you know, Mount Hor is at the border of the children of Israel heritage. So we're still within the borders, but this is one of the borders.
Qadash, AHAYAH, sham, AHAYAH, Malak with Ka, Thabat Zawanka, AHAYAH, Baharatza, Kawahaya, Bashamaya, Nathan Lanawa, Lakan Kalyawam, Wasalat Nawa, Khawaf Nawa, Kasalat Nawa, Kawaf Nawa, Thabayan Nawa, Minasaya Wapamba, Hawashin Nawa, Mayarai, Kayalaka, Hamlakwa, Wahala, Wahasapara, Wa'awala.
Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, amen. Praise the Most High.
All glory and praise to AHAYAH, Yashaya, wa Qadash Rawach.
your journey. His love carries me to the highest heights. Oh, the weight of His love, oh, it just blows me away. Yes, He loves me. He loves me. Make me wanna say, it feels so good, the highest love. Oh, it feels so good, the highest love. I feel your loving arms around me, and I know you're right there, close by. And even when you chastise me, you wanna make me better. I don't question your authority, no. I was on my way down to Hades, but Yashaya intervened. Yashaya, yes He did. Yashaya, He stopped me at the crossroads. He showed me the blood on His side. He said, you could be clean. A higher love. He took all away remembrance of pain. Now that He found me, nothing is the same. He sent Yashaya down to redeem me. I said He stopped me at the crossroads. Show me the blood on His side. Yes, show me the blood. He said you could be so good. It feels so good. It feels so
Sometimes I feel like I got it bad. Sometimes I feel like holding back. Sometimes I feel like I can't wait to be alone. And then I think about His grace, His love be flowing from the throne. Can't get enough, and when I'm hurting, I'm bleeding. My spirit calling is pleading. For you, I need you to lead. For you, I get on my knees. This sin is like a disease. When I was way down, you picked me right up. The devil came round. He know it's time up. 24 elders bow down with their crown at your feet. said you are worthy of all praise, and now this battle you defeat. Father, you're worthy of your name, Most High, the Most High, Most High, Most High, Most High, the Most High. Father, you're worthy of your name. Sometimes I feel like I did bad. Sometimes I feel like holding back. Sometimes I feel like I can't wait to be alone. And then I think about His grace, His love be flowing from the throne. Can't get enough, and when I'm hurting, I'm bleeding. My spirit calling is pleading. For you, I need you to lead. For you, I get on my knees. This sin is like a disease. When I was way down, you picked me right up. The devil came round. He know it's time up. 24 elders bow down with their crown at your feet. Said you are worthy of all praise, and now this battle you defeat. Father, you're worthy of your name, Most High, the Most High, Most High, Most High, Most High, the Most High. Father, you're worthy of your name.
That's where it all started, yeah. First commandment, love AHAYAH with all your heart. Second commandment, love your brother, love your sister. First commandment, love AHAYAH with all your heart. Second commandment, love your brother, love your sister. Love each other. Love each other. Love each other. Love each other. First commandment, love AHAYAH with all your heart. Second commandment, love your brother, love your sister. First commandment, love AHAYAH with all your heart. Second commandment, love a brother, love love. 'Cause a multitude of sins, all you have to do is find it. Oh, love cures everything and anything. All you have to do is find it. 'Cause hurt people will hurt people, but love will cure the brokenhearted. And loving people, laying love on people, bringing back the love. That's where it all started, yeah. First commandment, love AHAYAH with all your heart. Second commandment, love a brother, love your sister. First commandment, love AHAYAH with all your heart. Second commandment, love your brother, love your sister. Love each other. Love each other. Love each other.
Shalom, Israel. This is Sister Kana. And first and foremost, I want to give all glory and praise to AHAYAH, AHAYAH, Yashaya, Qadash, Rawach. Praise AHAYAH. Blessings, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining me. Sister Kana. This is the Nappy here, Chronicles. Guys, it's a lot to chronicleize. A lot is going on, and just wanted to bring up some information about what's going on, current events, speaking to the children of Israel, urging them to come out of Babylon. We are in the time that we should be moving out of Babylon, okay? So I wanted to bring across that information because there's a lot of distractions. I mean, everything is going on. Everything that Second Ezra spoke about when it says the 12 woes, and then it'll start to culminate together, and you won't know the beginning from the end, what is going on. And I'll give you an example, like the shootings, the school, like the Columbine, all these school shootings, those things are going on, natural disasters. I mean, tornadoes. They had like 8 or 9 tornadoes at one time, guys. I mean, and let's talk about those tornadoes for a minute, because I'm going to show you a video about it, but so it just won't be me talking, that they're happening in more than one places at the same time now. Now they're exasperating the incidences of these things. The gun, trying to take the guns away. So the school shootings will always culminate them pushing legislation to stop the gun laws, and change the gun laws so that Americans won't be having the right to bear arms, because eventually we know, like the scripture says, they will come into your homes and ravish the women and all these things. So the Bible is 100% true. Praise AHAYAH Yashaya. And people really don't want to take a look at what's going on. We got a lot of people who don't believe in the Bible but cannot explain what is going on, and would rather swish it under the rug and try to act like it's not happening. But the Most High said every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. And I praise AHAYAH Yashaya because his book is true. And now we're starting to really see it. And for those who want to be in denial, all right, keep hiding and acting like you don't see it, but it's going to come to you face to face, because thus saith AHAYAH, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. So I wanted to urge you, brothers, to get out of Babylon. I have to say it. I know I say it all the time, but it's something that needs to be said and must be said, because AHAYAH has said, come out of her, my people. Get within the borders. There is a safe place. But I'm going to talk about these things. There's a lot of nuances to this awakening, as we all see. I mean, it's not just waking up and trying to and finding out that you're Israel and let me read the Bible and things like that. We are in the time where you must take action. You must make a move, because the Most High is moving in such a way that you're going to have no choice. So praise AHAYAH. And a lot of people are afraid. There's a lot of fear, and rightfully so, because to look it in the face, to look these prophecies right in the face, this is what the Most High, he's bringing down the sledgehammer, and on the Jews and Gentiles alike. So you should fear, and it's okay to be in fear, because you must, AHAYAH said, fear him. You must fear him. In order for you to get any kind of wisdom, the fear of AHAYAH is the beginning of wisdom. So the fear should be on you that if you're not right with him, you start to get yourself together, because you see a lot of people, look at that young lady, like Black China, I think her name Angela something. She done went and took off some tattoos and went and got baptized. She had the Baphomet on her backside, and So a lot of people are, or should be drawing the line right now and getting in on the right side of things, the right side of the Most High. That is important. And brothers and sisters need to understand the Most High is drawing the line and you need to get on the right side of it. Okay. So that fear is good because that's the beginning of wisdom. Fearing AHAYAH, fearing what's coming, fearing what's in that word because the Most High said it's coming to pass. He said, come out of her, my people. And if you're not in the lines of coming out of her and getting out, you should be afraid because he's bringing down the hammer on the whole earth because of the wickedness that we have done over spans of 4 and 5 generations. So, and because of the curses and because of all these things, but I want to say it's time for us now to get in line with AHAYAH. And a lot of us don't know how to do it. It's unfortunate. Even us in the truth, we still believe because how we've been trained and programmed to believe that we can still do as thy wilt. Do what you feel in your mind is good, and it's good. It's all good, but it don't work like that with the Most High. We must do what he says is good. We must do things according to what he says and how he says to do it. That's the bottom line. Now, figuring it out. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Figuring that out is going to be the determination on how you get through this, what's coming. We are going into Jacob's trouble, brothers and sisters. Now let me say this first. What's going on with President Bush right now? He's getting arrested, or it's all a sideshow, guys, because I still believe he's going to run, and I still believe he's going to get past this. He's going to be the president again. But they said that if he's convicted of certain crimes, that it could mean death. And I can imagine that they, the death penalty for this man, but because they probably will get rid of him, all the things that he's promoting and, saying, they were going to probably try to get rid of him. I was thinking that they were going to get rid of him while he's in office the second time. But who knows, how this thing is going to pan out. So, but they are trying to definitely take him down because he's trying to keep America going. But it's all a sideshow, brothers and sisters. Whether he gets in office, whether he doesn't, whether he gets Kanye as a running mate. I mean, all these things, it's a sideshow, brothers and sisters, to keep the children of Israel still hoping and praying for more time. I have to urge you, come out of her, my people. Thus saith AHAYAH. Brothers and sisters, Jordan is the safe place. This is the time they're distracted. They're distracted with all the shenanigans that they got going on. So while they're distracted, this is the time for you to be coming out. And they've been distracted for a while. Brothers and sisters, you are to take this time to get out of Babylon. While they are still preoccupied with getting Trump, they're fighting. There's infighting going on, brothers and sisters. Okay? They are very distracted with what they're trying to do, even if it's just trying to keep you preoccupied with all the shenanigans. Get out. Use this time to get out. Pack your things and go. Jordan is the safe place. Now, I have a few videos I wanted to show you. And also, I really need to reiterate this because I have gotten a lot of new subscribers on my channel. Praise AHAYAH Yashaya. I guess because of what's going on now, people are kind of starting to pay attention. I mean, in my live, you wouldn't know it. But if you guys can take this time to hit the like button, those who are watching, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, because this is how, the algorithms work. And, I'm learning, guys. I'm not really that good at, I usually just give my message and whoever it falls upon, Praise AHAYAH Bahashim Yashaya. So that's why you're not maybe used to me saying like hit the like button, subscribe. I don't say it as much as most used to YouTube, because I really for if the Most High, you will run across my videos if the Most High have that for you. Everybody is not going to hear, everybody is not going to see. And, so I usually go by that. But we're in such dire straits and dire times that our people need to wake up. Our people need to get this information. A lot of people are in their spirit, feeling something is wrong, but just don't know where to go. Don't know that there is a safe place. Nobody else is talking like this, telling you that there's a definite safe place to go, that the Most High said that he will protect you in his borders. And there's scriptures that back that up. When you go to 2nd Ezra 9 and 13, there's a few of them, I think, and 8 and 25 or 26. I don't know the scriptures offhand, but I will go there later in this, broadcast, just to brush it up, because the Most High said that he will protect us within his borders. And if I was you, I wouldn't wait till all war is broken out in all these regions to think that you're going to be able to travel. Once wars break out and they stop to travel, you're going to be stuck wherever you are. So it's best bet for you to get within the borders now. And the Most High, trust in the Most High, like the children of Israel did coming out of Egypt. Because there were plagues, there was all kind of things happening, but it did not affect the children of Israel. So it's best that you be in the land. And I know a lot of people are trying to scare people, tell them don't do this and there's going to be all this stuff. But that's not what the scriptures say. The Most High said he will protect those who are within his borders. Now, either you believe the Most High or you don't. Now, you can't half believe the Most High and say you a child of Israel and you trust in the Most High. It's not, there's double talking, okay? And the Most High said either be hot or cold. But if you in the middle, he will spew you out of his mouth. So anybody saying to you, oh, don't go to Jordan, when you know Jordan is within his borders, that's a bold-faced lie, and they ain't got no good for you. Get out of Babylon, brothers and sisters. There are agents, there are infiltration going on. Esau has stopped at nothing. He has put out all the stops, including infiltration. Our own people are in this truth, working against us, just like in 70 AD. So to think that that's not happening, to think that that you're okay sitting in Babylon waiting until the end, it's delusional, when the Most High said, come out of her, my people. Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate that. I have a few videos I wanted to show, just telling you about the news, showing you, that we're on the brink of nuclear war. And guys, rightfully so, because everything is starting to culminate. We know the end game to all this is that Iran and the Medes, biblically speaking, are going to hit Babylon with nukes. That's the end game. But before that, we know that there's going to be a great earthquake that's going to split Babylon in 3 parts. We understand that, and I wanted to go into not Revelation. I read Revelation 18 last week, and I told you that I would go into Jeremiah 50 and 51 and just read the prophecy of Babylon. Because in Revelation 18, the Most High told you to come out of her, my people, not to partake into the destruction that's coming. And so I wanted to also go into what the Most High had planned for Babylon and why you need to leave. And don't let anyone distract you or deceive you talking about, don't go to Jordan, when the Most High said he is going to protect those within his borders. There's no contradiction, brothers and sisters, in the scriptures. The Most High said what he said. He said, come out of her, my people. Babylon the Great is fallen. And he's going to bring a whirlwind of destruction upon her. And there's going to be a great earthquake that's going to split her in 2. These are the prophecies that's coming to Babylon. Okay? Okay, so let me first share my screen with you. I'm going to give you some usual videos. And the reason why I go to these videos because it's really hard to find our people who are talking about what's going on prophecy wise and just economically how Babylon is falling. So I like to watch people who are in like mine, even though some of them calling on different names and they're giving information. you know Now, I wouldn't put this on my Skype, where it's the narrow road. I have a Skype called the narrow road, and I keep that mainly for people who are calling on AHAYAH, who know to come out of Babylon, and I keep the videos in that realm of information. But on this platform, where I know a lot of new people are coming, I will play, videos just for information purposes. Okay, so hold on a second and let me share my screen with you. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's see. There's a few. Okay, let's try this one first. Hold on. Hold on.
The US dollar. Whoops. Okay, before everyone freaks out, don't worry, it's a fake bill for dramatic effect, but the point still remains. The world's second largest economy is slowly cutting off ties with the United States, and this, not surprisingly, is the first to go. So today let's discuss exactly what's happening, why this is happening, what this realistically means for all of you watching, and whether or not this is a topic to be concerned about, because I have to say, this is something to be taken extremely seriously. After all, the billionaire Ray Dalio has previously described the impending downfall of every major economy as we know it, how these cycles typically happen on a regular basis, and how we could best prepare for what's to come based off predictable events that happen about once every 100 years. Although before we start, I have to warn you that the like button is also in danger of not being smashed for the YouTube algorithm. So if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button or subscribing, it does help out tremendously. So thank you guys so much. And now with that said, let's begin. All right, so as a quick 60-second recap to bring you up to speed about what's going on, as of now, and for the last 80 years, the US dollar has been the most powerful currency in the world because it's known as what's called a reserve currency. This refers to a currency that's accepted throughout the entire world. And since 1945, the US dollar has taken that place because of its safety, resiliency, and stability. Like when the system was first adopted, it was used as a way to keep the price of investments, exchange rates, and commodities like gold and oil stable, knowing that no matter which currency you held, its value was pegged to that of the US dollar. See, when you have dozens of countries all trading goods and services with each other, it helps to have one universal currency accepted around the world with a predictable value to conduct those transactions in. Otherwise, you run the risk of getting paid in a currency that might be difficult to exchange, or maybe its value has fallen by the time you're able to convert it back to your native currency. So think of this kind of like a global transfer of value through the US dollar that everyone has agreed to be safe. And of course, the United States benefits from this as well, because more countries use the US dollar, more countries hold onto those dollars, and as a result, we have greater buying power. But the US dollar is apparently at risk of losing that reserve currency status. And to understand why, look no further than Ray Dalio's Changing World Order.
وقت التحدي، لا تلمس هاتفك، الخاسر يدفع.
حسناً، لا بأس.
بالتأكيد. هذا ما كنت أخطط له، لقد وقعوا في فخي. نفذت للتو هجوما استهدف قواعدهم الثلاثة في وورباد. ماوس هي سلاحها الرئيسي، مع أعلى نقاط صحة وأقوى درع في وورباد، لكنها ضخمة للغاية. دبابة T-34 خفيفة الحركة 5 نجوم التي أرسلتها تعطيها منعوها من الطيارة.
Before
he explains, throughout history,
I want to say that this explains why America is always, they got to dominate that world currency. And that's why it's always a threat when any country tries to, move off of the dollar, because they're looking for world dominance. In order for them to take down the children of Israel, they got to control the finances. So this is why, things are going to get really hectic really soon, because of another news clip I'm going to show you how China and North Korea, these, they're vying to get off the dollar. And anytime someone does that, there's always a takedown by America, because they must control the currency. That's what this has been all about, because they need to control worldwide so they can stop the children of Israel. So when I show you some other news, you'll understand why, that it's time to get out of harm's way, brothers and sisters. Hold on.
There's a constantly changing world order between the leading economy and the rising economy. And over time, one will fail to make way for something new. For example, prior to 1945, the reserve currency was held by the British pound, which lasted for 105 years following the French Revolution, followed by the Netherlands, followed by Spain and Portugal and Venetian gold, and so on, with the understanding that reserve currencies have never lasted forever, and about every 100 years, they change in a transition that lasts between 10 and 20 years. So what causes this, you might ask? Well, Ray Dalio points out that this could be summarized into 3 categories: the rise, the top, and the decline. During the rise, after every new reserve currency, there's a period of peace and prosperity as people bet and borrow on that system continuing. This is typically marked with strong education, critical thinking, character building, and work ethic that allows for innovation, new technologies, and other resources for a continual rise in productivity. However, in order to finance that continual rise in productivity, there has to be a system in place for borrowing and allowing people from around the world to convert their currency into investments that share in the success of making that happen. In fact, Ray Dalio points out that all the successful reserve currencies followed the exact same path, leading to, of course, the top. At the peak, the general consensus is that while people earn more, their time becomes more valuable relative to other countries who would be willing to do the same work for less. On top of that, other countries have the ability to take the blueprints.
Okay, let me stop there. I'm going to go to this other video. Hold on. Here, this guy. Hold on.
That is happening. Again, I thought it was a very interesting way for me to phrase it over the last few days, and I think it's absolutely unadulterated, hard-hitting, and in-your-face facts and truth. If everybody's talking about a U.S. dollar collapse, if everybody's speaking about how we've lost dollar hegemony, if Donald Trump, case in point, listen to what he had to say last night.
Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat, frankly, in 200 years. There will be no defeat like that. That will take us away from being even a great power.
If even he is saying that the U.S. dollar has failed, and this is the worst loss that we've ever suffered in American history in the last 200 years, that means all the wars that were ever fought. That means D-Day, World War I, World War II, the war in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and now the worthless Ukraine war is all for nothing. It means that everything that the United States of America stood for to defend its currency and to defend real value and to defend American companies and businesses and capitalism and freedom and liberty is absolutely over. But I think we already know that. So let's not talk about what we already know. Let's talk about where maybe some of you don't know. We're currently in a CBDC transition, a transition into central bank digital currencies. This is also what they refer to and coined through their propaganda techniques, the Great Reset. This is a transition to an entirely new system. Just like they've introduced AI recently, and the reason why they're touting that is this is a light way to basically pepper Americans and precondition them for the eventual mark of the beast and the brain chips that will be put in your head. You'll see things on the internet now, like make your first $10,000+ a month by leveraging AI. Scale your business's revenue to $1 million+ a year for the first time by doing this with ChatGPT or AI. They're going to sell it as a good thing, and eventually they're going to merge you with technology and with the eventual MOB, which again, I'm not going to get into that subject today, but this is the general direction. This is how they groom Americans' weak minds, not only for the reset, which here's my point. The reason you're hearing about the dollar collapse, even though people like me have been talking about it for, 16, 17 years now, and many others online that you probably follow. The reason why they're talking about it now publicly, and it's going viral all across the internet, all these banks are collapsing, is because not only is it by design, but they're grooming you right now as we speak for that inevitable reset. Here's the problem. It's not something happening in the future anymore. It's happening right now. And I believe many Americans are about to lose everything. I do not believe that your retirement accounts are safe. I don't think that your money is safe at a bank. So I've been telling you for years, Banks are trash. I've told you to get out into different asset classes like real estate, which continues to soar, especially out here in prize locations and Maui and Hawaii. In fact, there was 2 articles that just came out last 48 hours talking about that, how prices keep soaring and people just don't seem to understand. Well, my father pointed this out yesterday. One of the reasons is as the United States way of life crashes and burns, as the US dollar sinks to zero, which is what they want and how they designed it, and the rest of the world turns their back on us, their currencies strengthen and go up, just like the Island Project, just going straight to the moon, 1000x, just like Bitcoin, okay, just like Ethereum, just like soon to be XRP, through the freaking moon, XRP army out there, give me a like for that, keeps going up. Our currency is devaluing. Not my currency, because I don't have trash US dollars anymore. That's going down. And so international money in America's enemies, like China, for example, buy all the cheap assets with their stronger dollars, with their stronger equivalent currencies. And so that's what's happening. It's one of the reasons why real assets, why gold is breaking out too. And you should buy gold, amtvgold.com. We had $2,000 an ounce. It's going to go much, much higher. I think it could even triple this year. Same thing with silver. It's because the dollar itself is losing value. And the other currencies are strengthening. But here's where it's going. People will say, well, Christopher, they're not going to allow the dollar to collapse. They're going to defend the dollar strength. They're going to defend the hegemony, aren't they? Isn't the central bank going to interfere? Scumbag Jerome Powell and, his fake teleprompter reading speeches. Aren't they going to announce something? Aren't they going to do something? Yeah, of course. Reset the system. See, I always told you that this would be their game plan because I know how these psychopaths think. You just think like, ask yourself, what would a psychopath do if you were evil? How would you absolutely destroy America and just like destroy real wealth? And that's how I know their playbook. And so I just tell you what their playbook literally is every single day. And so what they're going to do is allow the current dollar to collapse. And then with the new digital architecture that's already been designed through central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, things like FedNow, and even the introduction and working with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP, notably as a cross-border remittance transfer payment system, will then give a new system to the masses. But here's again the major problem, the thing that you actually tangibly need to be worried about. They're going to wipe you out in the process. Just like they wiped most Americans' bank accounts in 2008-09, just like they wiped billions and billions of dollars worth of tier 1 bonds, Silicon Valley Bank, Silvergate Bank, and Credit Suisse, as they raise interest rates, okay, and they barely raised it all. Notice how the system's already collapsing because that's what they want. As they raise those interest rates, not only is the yield curve become inverted, and what that means is the short-term debt, like 2 years, okay, are actually paying more than a 10-year or even like a 30-year in some cases. So the short-term maturity debt is actually paying more. And so what's happening is all these banks have to write that off, and it destroys their balance sheet. And the underlying valuation is they have to mark things to market on a regular basis. And so they go to zero in a bank run, because they don't have any money. It's a common misconception, by the way. People think that we have a fractional banking system. We used to have a fractional banking system. We went off the gold standard. We were fractional for a while where there was still a reserve requirement. But since 2020 and the economic financial tyranny lockdowns, there's now no fractional deposit required and no reserve requirement in any of the too big to fail banks. So every dollar you now deposit in the bank, say you're a working class person, you work really hard, you put your $2,000 in the bank, it completely evaporates a minute that you're there. Okay, the amount of total tyrannical tyranny and mass surveillance that they are able to accomplish with a CBDC digitally controlled surveillance system is enormous. Never before have governments had this kind of power. Limiting your purchases, not allowing you to make purchases outside the system, telling you which things you can purchase, putting expiry dates. I talked about this yesterday on CBDCs, which is a very real thing. China's already rolled this out, which forces you to actually spend your money so you can't save. It forces your money into the money supply so you actually spend the fake, worthless digital equivalent into the system. And so this is why, people ask me, they're like, well, Christopher, is my money safe in a bank? No. Is your retirement account safe? No. You could lose everything. Is cash trash? Yes, it absolutely is trash. It's lost 40% of its value against Bitcoin. It's about to probably lose the same against gold and silver, as I expect that to be an epic rise very, very soon. And it's other currencies like the euro and Japanese yen, for example, are in the same boat. But here's what's a little bit different. As the world enters World War III, Finland just joined NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and one of the NATO officials also said that Ukraine will imminently be in NATO as well. As we approach that nuclear Armageddon, which they also want, which I think will be, false flag. And I think basically it's going to be tactical in scope, could be in and around Europe. I've said this for a very long time. Will only be used for more fear-mongering, grooming of the public, and social conditioning, just like what we saw over the last couple of years. Again, I repeat, it's not a coincidence that they rolled AI out, ChatGPT, right after the lockdowns. That's what all that stuff was that we just went through. It was artificial intelligence. There's also deep fakes now, which have been fully implemented into society that are indistinguishable from reality. And they're being used now in real time. I believe, for example, in my opinion, that real people like Vladimir Zelensky, for example, not only gives real speeches, but they also put out fake deep fakes of him all the time. And they're doing this of politicians. They're doing this of the banking class. They're doing this of Hollywood celebrities. And this, again, is a part of the conditioning process. So when you're hearing things like AI is going to change your life and it's going to help you and it's so good for scalability, yes, there might be some positives maybe from it. Like it does some heavy lifting. And it is interesting from that standpoint. But really all it's doing is commoditizing people out of their jobs, people that are no longer needed. And what they're not telling you is that really why AI was designed is to control and manipulate you and to control and manufacture news, media, current events, your reality, your individual paradigms. I've talked about this for years within social media, et cetera. And it's really just the ultimate control tool and control mechanism that governments around the world are using that only they have access to the best of the AI. You'll never be allowed to use the real AI. You'll never be able to use AI, for example, as a trading algorithm to work against retail investors and profit from them like JP Morgan Chase is probably doing right now in nanoseconds. Okay, you're not going to be able to break through the algorithms to get your media or messaging out, even if it's the truth, in this new manufactured closed society of total surveillance and tyranny. Only the elites will have access to that. But here's the big piece that I want you to take away from today. In addition to the financial side that you need to take action on, you need to join us as a member at islandproject.com. $30K minimum. Read our terms and disclaimers, not financial advice. Okay. The only reason you're hearing about AI is the MOB. AI is the mark of the beast. The AI is the chips that they're going to be putting into your bodies very, very soon. This is a biological war, and it's a biological integration of human beings. And this is the definition of the mark of the beast from what we read about in the book of Revelation, which I encourage you to go read about it. It says you won't be able to buy or sell without taking the mark in your right hand or in your forehead. It's exactly word for word for what it says. And we're even seeing this too with new age religions forming around AI, people worshiping the beast, worshiping this artificial intelligence. And it's all a part of the grooming process. So from a guy who's warned about these current events for years, long before they've happened, I'm telling you now, this whole AI pitch con job is only leading to the mark. Because eventually, once they've conditioned you and beaten you over the head long enough with the powerful grooming propaganda techniques only governments know how to implement, and all of this is AI warfare now, that same AI will not only be the beast that people worship, but it'll be the beast that they impregnate inside their bodies and ultimately remove themselves from our eternal King, Jesus, which I encourage you and I command you.
Okay, so we give all glory and praise to AHAYAH, AHAYAH, Yashaya. But I like to give that kind of information to see, economically, so that you can see what's going on and why they're doing what they do. So hold on, I'm going to change to a new video. But brothers and sisters, this is just showing you that it is happening right before our eyes. Like we're in the process, and all the shenanigans they got going on with President Trump, it's just a distraction to keep our people thinking, that they got to sit still. This is the distraction that we need Israel to get them to make moves, to get out of harm's way. AHAYAH says it's coming. It's coming. Christ's birth pains, boom, 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 boom. It's coming. And we are going to be going through Jacob's trouble. So it's time to get out of harm's way, brothers and sisters. And I wanted to briefly touch on it because I don't have a lot of time. I wanted to come on earlier. I came on a little earlier today, but I really need to come on like 1 or 2 o'clock for all the stuff I want to talk about. Because they close these buildings down early because they're in their Ramadan month where they fast and then they eat at a certain time. So all the stores will close, and so the building here is closing. So I wanted to say, now this is something that I've been experiencing lately, and I just wanted to talk to the children of Israel. A lot of times that the reason why people don't want to come out and they're fearful too is because maybe they understand how critical it is when it comes to the Most High. We're coming out to worship the Most High, AHAYAH, okay? And so we have to get under his laws, statutes, and commandments, brothers and sisters. It's time. So people, I know initially it's just a mere threat. You want to get yourself, and your family out of harm's way. That's initially. But brothers and sisters, please be reminded that the only reason why we're coming out is to worship the Most High, to get back under the law, statutes, and commandments. So it behooves you when you come out to get in them scriptures and understand what the Most High want us to do. Get back under the law, statutes, and commandments. Keep the Sabbath. Keep his holy feast. And that's why I went all last week and the week before and before that about the calendar, how important it is to be on the correct calendar. It's very important, brothers and sisters. What I find is that people will come out and they're so exasperated about coming out. I mean, it's all new. They forget that the why they're here. The Most High is summoning Israel to come back to him, just like in the days with Egypt. It's no different. We are to worship him. Thus saith AHAYAH, you must worship him. We must worship him. So what I find is people are lax. They're lax about keeping the Passover. I mean, one year I had to remind somebody to even buy lamb. Like, you got to go out and buy some lamb. That is an ordinance that we must keep. You must have lamb on the Passover. You must eat unleavened bread for 7 days. I mean, you must do it. And these are the things that, people are coming out and they're calling on the wrong names. They clinging to their old belief systems instead of coming like a newborn baby in this truth and getting the information that they need. Even once they wake up, they'll get onto another doctrine first. And then they'll find out his name is AHAYAH. Then they have to learn that. But they're still doing everything according to what they was learning under these other powers that they were calling on. Brothers and sisters, it's imperative that you understand the power that you're serving. Get to know him, learn him, read of him, and do the Lord's statutes and commandments diligently. This is the only way Israel is going to come back. And I'll give you an example. There's people who have come out, and there's people who have already perished here. A lot of brothers and sisters will come out and thinking that it's okay that they can do what they want to do, calling on these different names. Like I told you, Yah, Yahosha, Yahusha, Yahawashah, Yahush, Jah, Jesus. And then people come out, they start getting sick. They end up going back to Babylon for other reasons. Their children get sick. They don't understand that all these things is a detriment when you coming out breaking these laws. This is Jacob's trouble, because not only are you going to be hunted and slaughtered by Esau in America and this and that, but when you come out, if you're not in line with the Most High, 2/3 is going to get cut off anyway. This is why it's Jacob's trouble, because on both sides you need to understand who you're dealing with and fear AHAYAH. We are supposed to come out and get under these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's why I said it behooves you to know the right power, who you're serving. It's AHAYAH who's calling the children of Israel out of Babylon. Okay? You must understand that. His name is AHAYAH, AHAYAH, Bahashim Yashaya Qadash. Now, I don't know for the life of me why, because y'all know me. This is all I talk about. I'm saying it relentlessly, and I will keep on saying it until the bitter end, until the Most High tells me is to stop. I will not stop talking and telling and reminding our people Yashaya is coming, Yashaya is coming, Yashaya is coming. But as Yashaya come, Jacob's trouble is upon us. Get yourselves together, Israel. People will come out of Babylon, come here, still and switch. When they talk to me, they'll act like, oh, I'm calling on AHAYAH, da 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 da. Then they'll switch and call on another name, and then go through all kind of stuff here, from sickness to death to lack of employment, homelessness, all kind of stuff, brothers and sisters, because Israel refuse. They're rebelling. You coming out here and you being a rebel against the Most High. So when I talk to people on the phone, when you contact me, I try to warn our people. I'm even warning you now. Like, please, brothers and sisters, take heed to what is happening, what the Most High is doing. He's calling us out, but we must worship him. AHAYAH, AHAYAH, I am that I am, and his son, Yashaya. Okay? I pray you don't play games with this thing. Don't play. And it is no room to wiggle. The Most High is not playing. He's calling us out for this reason, to worship him, to learn him. And you don't want to be the ones who get destroyed out here. Okay? And it's happening. It's happening. The judgment is happening now. So maybe that's why a lot of people are trying to I don't really want to go. Maybe they're scared because they know they're not right. But trust, you don't want to be talking to that person who's not really telling you why they're not making a move. Because they know they are still in sin. They don't want to come out because they ain't ready to give their life to Christ like that. A lot of people are struggling with these kind of issues, and you won't know why they're not making a move. You understand? You know you ready, but you waiting on somebody else to say, okay, and they know they ain't ready. They ain't right with the Most High, but they ain't going to tell you that. A lot of people are operating in fear of coming out because they're not ready to face the Most High. This is holy ground, brothers and sisters. And the children of Israel are being held accountable. It's not do as you wilt, like we've been getting away with in Babylon. That's why Babylon is getting destroyed. And we must come out. But you come out, you better understand. We are coming out here to serve our power. We're not coming out to play games. We're not coming out here to be guessing the name of the Most High and guessing. Now, granted, there are some people who are, truly seeking and searching as they come out. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about those people who know they're Israel. You know you're Israel. You know that his name ain't the J name. But you clinging on to another name, and you better do your diligence and your research to find out his name. We are accountable. He said, seek and ye shall find. Ask and the door shall be open. That means there's some work that you need to be doing. You need to be diligently seeking the Most High. And when you do seek him, guess what? You'll run across, the Most High will put somebody in your path that will give you the correct information, like a Sister Kana, or he will cause you to contact me, and I will give you some information, or another brothers and sisters will come across your path and bring the information to you. He'll bring it right to you. Okay? But you have to be open to receive and have an ear to hear, because that's a criteria. Those who have an ear, let him hear. Your ears must be open. They got to be unplugged so that you can get this truth. Because AHAYAH is not playing. He's bringing judgment on the earth. The whole earth. Babylon will be destroyed. But for those of us who survive, we must know who we're going to serve. You must know. His name is AHAYAH, AHAYAH. His son name is Yashaya. Okay? So when we come into this wilderness, that's what it's going to be. And trust me, there's a lot of people who being chastised now. So I see someone, they got a Hebrew name. They said Jacob's trouble is during the Great Tribulation. when do you feel the tribulation is? Do you not feel that a tribulation, you're in a tribulation right now? I'll give you some more news. Okay, hold on one second. I'll share my screen. You're in Jacob's trouble right now because if you're sitting in Babylon, that means you're not even sure whether you're leaving or not. That's Jacob's trouble. When you come out of Babylon and like me, and you're in a foreign land and you have to adapt and you have to figure out your way and you got to be in line with the Most High or else you're going to go through some troubles. Jacob's trouble. We're in it, brothers and sisters. You said when all the nations come against us, brother or sister, what do you mean? When we're in the wilderness here, just you getting delivered out of Jacob's trouble. And now the Most High said he will protect those within his borders. So you're in Jacob's trouble, brother and sister, because listen, all the nations has conspired against you. They know who you are. And you're a sitting duck in Jacob's trouble in Babylon. I mean, the reason why the Most High is calling you out, he's saying come out so that you don't have to partake into the plagues that's coming to Babylon. So why do you don't feel that you're in Jacob's trouble? I want to know. Can you answer me that? They have all conspired against you. So why don't you feel that you're in Jacob's trouble? Because you still can go to the store and buy some food. But pretty soon, all that's going to stop. They are ministering the mark of the beast, brother or sister. You're in the midst of it, and you don't even know it. That's scary within itself. The Most High is saying, come out of my people, that he will protect those within his borders. So if he's telling you to come out and that there's a protection somewhere, there must be some Jacob's trouble. This is trouble for you. The fact that you got to get up and go to another land is trouble. Because most people, excuse me, most people want to stay where they are. They want to stay just like our Israelites today. Majority of our people want to sit in Babylon because they're comfortable there. They don't want to get up and go nowhere. But you must come out because you're in the midst of Jacob's trouble. Okay, so let me share my screen with you again to watch another video. Now, hold on. Let me see. Okay, here it is. Oh, I just saw that one. Hold on. Oh, this was going into it, but I didn't watch it all. Now, this one is talking about China just broke the US dollar. And I don't know if I really want to, let me see if I want him to really specifically talk about this, but it's kind of long.
$1. Really, though, it's tracked against 3 different metrics. The first is the exchange rate to other currencies. The second is the demand for 10-year treasury notes. And the third is what's known as foreign currency reserves, which is a really fancy way of saying how many US dollars are held by other countries. But when it comes to the exchange rate to other currencies, it is true that the value of the US dollar has been gradually weakening since 2020. However, the US dollar is more recently higher than it's been throughout the last 20 years, despite the recent drop. Second, as far as the demand for 10-year treasury notes goes, this is essentially just a 10-year loan to the government. And for people who want a safe place to store their money...
Let me just stop for a minute and just reiterate that he's basically talking about how the dollar has already collapsed. Even though it looks like everything is the same, this is why I'm coming before you, because we are in Jacob's trouble. Because once they implement that mark of the beast, brothers and sisters, and you're not within the borders, you're going to be in harm's way. So it's sad that you don't even realize that you're in this predicament. You don't even realize that you're in this predicament, that things is collapsing around you, and because you still can turn on the TV or turn on your computer, you think you're in good case. No, you're in Jacob's trouble. You're at the brink of not being able to make a move and having to decide whether you can take the mark of the beast or not. Do you realize that? Okay, I see what your message. Read Jubilees 23 and 23, and I will. But you're at the brink of being in a situation of, will you take the mark of the beast or die? That's where you're about to be in that situation, right? Now, the Most High said, come out of her, my people, so that you don't have to partake in these kind of things. The mark of the beast, judgment coming, the great earthquake, all these things that Most High is telling you to come out so you don't have to deal with those situations. That is Jacob's trouble. We're in this. Okay, you said Jacob's trouble is when we aren't safe at all. But why do you feel safe? Is what I'm saying. Why do you feel safe now? I'm giving you news. Look, listen to this. The man is saying the dollar is collapsed. It's in crisis. They're implementing the mark of the beast. You're in trouble. If you don't make a move, you're in trouble. That's what I'm saying. So you're saying because you still okay, you can still go to the store and buy something, you're not in trouble. I'm warning you before it gets to the point. It's coming, is what I'm saying. You still feel that you're okay, you're in good case. And I'm saying, no, you're not in good case. I'm giving you news events that's showing that you're not in good case. I put a video, it's like, hurry up, go buy some gold. Get you some gold, because when this dollar collapse, you're not going to be able to make a move because they're going to implement the mark of the beast. That's going to be your money system. What are you going to do? You're in trouble. It's just right at the brink of the door. This is the warnings before it actually hit. You don't get that. You don't see that. Hold on. Let me finish. Hold on. Let me see where I'm at. So that's the thing, the limit here. You're thinking you're in good case right now. Why? I don't know. Why do you think you're in good
They'll
case?
essentially buy these and then get a guaranteed return on their capital. In terms of our own currency, though, the value of the US dollar has been actually going up alongside with interest rates, meaning the higher the rates go, the more demand there is to buy those higher yielding bonds, which is good for the US dollar. And third, in terms of foreign currency reserves, this is where things get slightly less optimistic, because as you can see, the US dollar has been steadily declining as other currencies are beginning to take its place. And as CNBC reports, we're now at the lowest level that we've seen in 25 years. This, of course, brings us to what's happening right now. On March 29th, it was announced that China and Brazil struck a deal to trade in their own currencies, ditching the US dollar as an intermediary. This would essentially enable them to trade.
Right there. Now it says China and Brazil are in talks. So that means, so that war with China and Russia will get really real at this point, because this is what happened with Saddam Hussein when he tried to go off the dollar standard, change the currency. This is what happened in Lebanon, Libya with the Gaddafi when he tried to go off. Now you got China, who's a heavy hitter, who's allies with Russia, who we already had problems with, and North Korea. So it's serious now, where we watch how America, responded when these other nations try to go off the dollar, because they need world dominance in order to take down the children of Israel. So it's going to be a problem.
Directly with each other without having to buy US dollars in the process. And they currently transact around $150 billion every single year that's no longer going through the US. But keep in mind that this is not the first time that something like this has happened. China's been slowly shifting away from the US dollar since 2010. Russia and India both ditched the US dollar a year ago, and Saudi Arabia recently said that it was open to the idea of trading the Chinese yuan. Not to mention, China, Russia, Brazil, India, and South Africa have already joined forces countries to transact in their own reserve currency that's separate from our dollars, referred to as BRICS. So this isn't exactly something that came out of nowhere, but it could have a significant effect. In fact, as Grit Capital points out on Twitter, China's trading volume skyrocketed upon the Russia-Ukraine war, with sanctions allowing them to gain an even stronger foothold on international trade. But is this actually something to worry about? And could the US be heading towards a time where it's no longer the reserve currency? Well, as of now, even though the future of the US dollar looks uncertain, there's currently nothing close to being able to take its place. Now, of course, it's certainly not the most confidence-inspiring to hear that China's economy is posed to outpace the US by 2030, or that BRICS economies are some of the fastest growing nations in the world. But the US dollar still makes up the vast majority of global transactions, and its dominance is not going anywhere anytime soon. Frankly, a lot would need to happen first if there were to be a new reserve currency, and notwithstanding a massive black swan event that undermines the United States' role in worldwide trade, it might not happen, or it might not be able to take place in a way that we could reasonably predict. Of course, this doesn't mean that there's not any concern at all, with even Elon Musk tweeting that this is a serious issue. US policy has been too heavy-handed, making countries want to ditch the dollar, combined with excess government spending, which forces other countries to absorb a significant part of our inflation. With that, it's no wonder why Barron's recently reported that the US stimulus following the financial crisis started a currency war, cheapening the greenback to boost America's economy. Because there is the very real danger that other countries will want to compete. Even Saudi Arabia entered a new trade agreement, and ultimately that's going to put a lot more pressure on the United States. But at the end of the day, the reality is the US dollar is being traded less, there is more competition between countries, and that's not going away anytime soon. However, I personally believe that the US dollar as a reserve currency is not going anywhere. It's still the #1 spot by far, and most of the headlines that you see simply want clicks. I think to spend your time worrying about this is going to be incredibly unproductive, especially when there are way more imminent topics that should be discussed a lot more, like in regards to raising the debt ceiling, which is likely going to take a significant toll on the markets if both sides can't come to an agreement. That's why I tend to believe that it's always a good idea to understand what's going on and why this is happening, but instead focus your time on what you can control, like whether or not you're diversified, whether or not you save enough money, whether or not you have a consistent income, and whether or not you invest on a regular basis. That's why I think focusing on those will make you so much more money than thinking about the possibility that maybe one day the US is not going to be the world's reserve currency at some point, possibly in our lifetime. Plus, by focusing on what you can control, you're going to be in a much better position to subscribe if you haven't done that already.
Okay. So here's somebody who's a little more optimistic and saying, okay, it's probably going to happen in our lifetime, but don't worry about it. But because you read the Bible, brothers and sisters, because you know what the Most High tells us is going to happen, you got to see the correlation. You have to. You can't just brush this under the rug and act like, So I just wanted to give you the news aspect of it. This is from someone who probably don't even believe in the Bible, this particular guy. But so that's why he's more like, oh, as a matter of factly, don't worry about it. Not in the near future. But you know the Bible. Okay, so let me go. I'm going to read Jubilees 23. I'm going to jump to that really quickly because there's another video I want to watch, but I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to go to the scriptures. Hold on. And I believe I have Jubilees on my, Okay, so those of you who don't have eSword, this is the app that you can download on your computer or your phone. I think they charge you on the phone, but you can on the phone you can go to My Sword and get it. So you said Jubilees 23, right? Right, Jubilees. Hold on. I think this a book. It should be the book of Jubilees. Oh no. Okay, let me read it on the internet because this is the Bible. Okay, give me a second. Let me go back. Hold on. let's see, 23, and you said, let's see, Book of Jubilees 23, and hold on, you said 23, 23? Okay, let me see. Okay, Book of Jubilees 23, 23, and he will wake up against them the sinners of the Gentiles, who have neither mercy nor compassion, or who shall respect the persons of none, neither old nor young, nor anyone, for they are more wicked and strong to do evil than all the children of men. And they will use violence against Israel and transgression against Jacob. And much blood shall be shed upon the earth, and there shall be none to gather and none to bury. In those days they shall cry aloud and call and pray that they may be saved from the hand of the sinner, the Gentiles, but none shall be saved. Okay. And the heads of the children shall be white with gray, and a child of 3 weeks shall appear old like a man of 100 years, and their stature shall be destroyed by tribulation and oppression. In those days, the children shall begin to study the laws, okay, that's the righteous, and to seek the commandments, okay, that's what we're talking about here, and to turn to the path of righteousness. And the days shall begin to grow many and increase amongst those children of men, till their days draw near to 1,000 years, and to greater number of years than before was the number of the days. And there shall be no old man, nor one who is not satisfied with his days, for all shall be as children and as youths. Okay, so let's talk about this. So, okay, let me go back. And you said, to plunder and devour, right? So, yes, this is talking about Jacob's trouble. But what I'm explaining to you is that you're coming into that time of Jacob's trouble, and you need to get out of harm's way. We're in Jacob's trouble in the beginning of it. This is what it is. We're not to the point where they're plummeting us to that extent, but they're gradually killing off the children of Israel. This is what it's all about. The whole what we went through, the pandemic, all of that was against us. So you got to know that we are in Jacob's trouble, and we are the ones who are being affected by this situation. But I don't know. Do you not see that? We're in Jacob's trouble. We're at the beginning of it. But this is why you're being called to say, get out of harm's way. Now, when that time is where we're being plummeted, you ain't going to be able to make any moves. So the warning is coming before. So these are the warnings. This is the warning before you actually can't do nothing and you're just going to be destroyed. You don't want to be a part of that prophecy. And this is what amazes me with our people. It's like, you don't want to be in Babylon at that time, like when the great earthquake. You need to get up out of there before that happens. You shouldn't be in the midst of that, and you should not have witnessed that, because the Most High is calling his people out. So there seemed to be like a block going on with our people. Like, they need to see certain signs. But if you're actually caught in that destruction, there is no real way to get out of that. You don't want to have to perish in that, do you? Are you waiting to perish? Is that it? Do you need to perish before you realize that you needed to go? What needs to happen or needs to be happening before you realize, oh, I better get out? You know? You say Jacob's trouble is when we aren't safe at all. So that's what I'm saying. So then only then will you realize that you're in Jacob's trouble. When there's no way out, and so that means you got to die. Really? So you don't think that should be a thought of maybe I should be getting out because I see it's coming. The Most High said there is a safe place, brother or sister, that he will protect those within his borders. Those are scriptures too. So let me go to that so that you'll know. So you don't have to experience the Jacob's trouble. Some of us won't experience that to that degree. We're in it. I'm in enough Jacob's trouble right now. I don't need to go through that. I mean, I don't know about you, but that's how I look at it. I'm begging and pleading the Most High. Like, I'm reading these scriptures and saying, Most High, I don't want to go through that. What do I do? That's what I was doing prior to 2008. I was praying to the Most High, reading these scriptures, these same scriptures, saying, Most High, I don't want to go through that. What, deliver me. What do I need to do? Where do I go? And this is when he started to show me. So that's why now I'm trying to show you. Hold on. I'm going to go back into the scriptures. Hold on. Okay. So it's in the book of, it's in 2nd Ezra. This is in the Apocrypha, right? And I always forget these scriptures. I'm very bad, with that. That's why I have to have my precept book, and with my Bible, I mark these things. But if I don't have it with me, it's hard. Okay. Let's see. It's 9 and is it 20? Oh, God, yeah. I forget. And I even marked these, but because my computer just got cleansed. Okay, give me a second, guys. And I'm going to show y'all another video. And so I can find these scriptures because I don't know exactly where it is. I think it's 9 and hold on. Hold on, guys. Okay, give me a second. Hold on, give me a second.
Itojatravel. We're in the last days, coming to the final phase. AHAYAH's gonna show his face to his people. It's time to go. You feel it in your soul. The Holy Spirit tells you so. Get ready. Go east. AHAYAH prepare to play. Itojatravel. Go east to plead with you face to face. Itojatravel. Go east. There is a safe place. Itojatravel. Go east. For those who have an ear, let them hear. Go east. Itojatravel. Visit us at itojatravel.com. We're in the last days, coming to the final phase. AHAYAH's gonna show his face to his people. It's time to go. You feel it in your soul. The Holy Spirit tells you so. Get ready. Go east. AHAYAH prepare to play. Itojatravel. Go east to plead with you face to face. Itojatravel. Go east.
there is a safe place.
I told you travel.
Go ease. For those who have an ear, let them hear. Go ease.
I told you travel. Visit us at itojatravel.com. With you. Okay, guys. So I found it. It's 2nd Ezra 9 and 6. I can't find it. 9 and 6. Okay, so it says 9 and 7. Okay, 9 and 7 actually. It says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. So first of all, that scripture is saying you got to believe and understand what's going on and what time you're actually in. Because if you don't like what you're saying is we're not in Jacob's troubles yet, so it's not time to flee. So if you believe that you need to be in Jacob's trouble where you're being subdued, that's the Jacob's trouble for you, then you probably won't get to make it out because you're going to be already in a position where you can't make a move. You understand? So you have to understand and believe that, you know, the times that you're in so that you would move. You get what I'm saying? You got to understand that you're in the midst of Jacob's trouble so that you know to get out before it's too late, before you can't get out. So that scripture is saying that for those who have it says, and everyone that shall be saved, because we know that nobody's saved until the end. So there's a process of things that you must do in order to be saved, right? He said, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works. That means there's things that you're supposed to do in order to escape, right? And by faith, you must have faith in us to trust the Most High, that you're making the right move and you're doing it, you know, for regardless of what anybody else is telling you, when or how. Some people tell you don't go to Jordan. You got to know that, oh, okay, if he says I'm be safe within his borders, let me get to Jordan. Okay, whereby ye have believed. You got to believe it and you got to understand it. 2nd Ezra 9 and 8 shall be preserved from the said perils. So all the perils that the Most High said that we would go through in and around Jacob's trouble, in order to be preserved from that said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So that salvation in my land, we know that when we get in the Holy Land, that's the Most High salvation. And eventually, you know, we'll get there. But also he said, and within my borders. So there are borders that the Most High had that he's sanctioning us to be safe within. Again, I'll read it again. 2nd Ezra 9 and 8 shall be preserved. That means that you will not be touched. You will be shielded from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So there are chosen people that the Most High sanctified from the beginning who will make it and get to where they need to be. But again, it says that on the top of it, everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed. You got to believe it and understand it and have faith enough to move. Okay, so let me go to 2nd Ezra 13 and 45, because it also says it. This is 2nd Ezra 13, and go down to 45. It says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, and the same region is called Azareth. So that's was when going into the Americas, right? Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come, okay, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore soarest thou the multiple with peace. This is the scripture. But those that be left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders. There it goes again, talking about his borders. And he said, those that will be left behind of thy people are they that are found within his borders. You want to be left behind. You want to be in the wilderness within the borders in Jordan. Okay. So I just wanted to reiterate that. So those people will not be going through Jacob's trouble. Those people will be safe within the Most High's borders. And let me go to another scripture just to reiterate that. I'm going to go to Ezekiel 38 because it talks about this. Okay. Hold on. Ezekiel 38, because listen to this. Okay, Ezekiel 38, and let me find it where it says. Okay, let me start here at 8. And I'm not sure it's this exact place, but it's somewhere around here. After many days, thou shalt be visited in the latter days. So it's talking about the end times. Thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. Now, I do a whole thing about this land. Jordan, I'll just give you a brief synopsis. Jordan was called the Red City. In about 1748, I think that was a time. Before that, there was a great earthquake here in Jordan, and it was called the Lost Red City because the land, there was an earthquake and everything got swallowed up, and it was actually missing from civilization for a long time, for a couple of decades, you know. People, it was called lost because the earthquake buried all the rocks. In 1748, about, I believe that was the year, some man from UK, an explorer, came and he refound Petra. That's when it was refound. So when this scripture is talking about brought back from the sword, that sword was when that earthquake hit and the whole place was buried. So again, I'm going to read it again. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. Okay? And is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel. Again, it's giving you geographical locations. The mountains of Israel. Jordan is running perpendicular with Israel. So we're on against the mountains of Israel. So this prophecy is giving you a geographical location of where he's talking about. Again, it said, brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. Because how it was waste? Because there was a great earthquake and Petra was buried under all the rocks, but it was brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Who will dwell safely, all of them? Listen, thou shalt, excuse me. Let me see, where am I talking about? Hold on. Okay, listen, read it, listeners. They shall dwell safely, all of them. Who? Then it goes into 38:9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Now listen to this. Because Elder Carl always talk about, oh, there's going to be war. Oh, there's going to be this in this land. It's talking about Jordan. I'm pointing to the geographical location. So there is going to be war. And there's going to be destruction, but in the midst of it, the Most High is going to have his people here. Now, you just read it. It said, going back up, 38:8, in the midst, it says, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Right? Who? I'm going to bring that back up. 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. So they're talking about bringing their armies in the midst while his people are dwelling safely, right? Thus shall say the Lord power, it shall also come to pass. No, thus saith your Lord AHAYAH, it shall also come to pass that at that same time, so all this stuff is happening while the war is going on, that they tell you don't go into Jordan because that place is going to be da-da-da. This is all concurrently. At that same time shall things come to thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Listen. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, saying there will be some people dwelling in tents, right? And I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, having neither bar nor gates, to take a spoil, to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that all are now inhabited. Who's inhabiting it? Listen, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations would have gotten cattle, goods, and dwell in the midst of the land. That's talking about Israel, brothers and sisters, coming back into this land, into the borders, and we will be dwelling in tents, and they will think to come up against us, y'all. They will come, there will be a mighty, they're going to think to come, and because they're going to be in midst of having war and fighting, and there's going to be tribulation here, and they're going to think to come up against us while we're in the wilderness. So yes, this will all be going on currently while we are here in the wilderness. So don't let nobody deceive you saying, oh, you got to wait till after. No, the Most High said he will protect those within his borders in the midst of while all this stuff is going on. Brothers and sisters, believe it. He is saying right in the scripture, they're going to think an evil thought while we are at rest in the scriptures, because we're gathering now. Children of Israel coming out. We're in the land. We're going into this wilderness. And this thing is starting to culminate. We will be down in this wilderness. But they're going to think eventually, while they're fighting and all this stuff is going on, here in the Middle East, they're going to think, oh, remember that we are here. They know that we're here. And they know this prophecy and they know this book. And they're going to think to then come against us. But the Most High got another thought. Okay. Because Christ, let me go there. Isaiah 63. Hold that. Isaiah 63. Now, I hope that's clear for you guys. We will be dwelling safely in walls, in tents, without gates or bars or with anything. Unwalled villages, we will be there. Tents, right? Isaiah 63. Hold on. So in the midst of that, they're going to think to come up against us. And then when you go to Isaiah 63:1, read this. Who is that cometh from Edom? Edom is modern day Jordan, right? With dyed garments from Bozrah. He's talking about a land mass, not the people. Because people try to switch this scripture and try to talk about, oh, it's the Edomites. No, he's talking about Bozrah. That is a city, or ancient city in Edom. So it's talking about the physical location of Edom, Jordan today, modern day Jordan. It says, again, who is that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? That is glorious in apparel, talking about Christ, traveling in greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in a wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments. I will stain all my raiment. So Christ is coming for vengeance. He's coming for blood. He's coming because they think a wicked thought to come up against us in this wilderness. And that's why Christ is coming to Edom. He will come to deliver us from them thinking to come against us and in that day. He said, for the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeem is come. And look, and there is none to help. I wondered that there was none to uphold. Wherefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld. I will tread down the people in my anger and make them drunk of my fury, and I will bring down their strength. So praise AHAYAH, Christ is coming. Our Redeemer is coming. Okay? So when you put all those precepts together, it becomes, oh gosh, y'all couldn't see that. Can y'all hear me? Sorry, guys. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Hold on. Guys, could y'all hear me? I don't know if y'all heard all that. Can you let me know if y'all heard me? Because I was reading the scriptures all this time. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I don't know if you guys heard me reading those scriptures. Can you let me know? Can somebody tell me, yes, you heard me, or no, you couldn't hear me? But anyway, I went into Second Ezra. I went into Second Ezra and spoke about the borders. I went into Ezekiel 38. I went into Isaiah 63, showing you what was coming. So if somebody, can you let me know that if y'all heard it? I'll just assume that you did. And praise AHAYAH Bahashim Yashaya. And I just have to watch this on the replay because it's running late, guys. I have to go. It's 5:30. So they'll be closing, and the guy will be coming. So I give all glory and praise to AHAYAH Bahashim Yashaya. I'm going to make a part 3 to this. Babylon the Great is falling, is growing. Guys, we need it. Y'all need to be understood. It needs to be reiterated. It needs to be reminded that this is what's going on. So I saw that there's a drop. So I don't think that you guys got those scriptures, but I pray you did. But if you want to take those scriptures down, it's Second Ezra. I'm going to write them for you guys so that you can read it for yourself. Okay. And that's the best thing. Anyway, so Second Ezra. Second Ezra 13, 45 to I think 48. Also, Second Ezra 9, 6 to 8. Also, what did I read? Ezekiel 38. I started at 8, and I went down to 8. Let me check. Y'all can take these scriptures down, and I did Ezekiel 63, 1 through 6. But before that, I went to, that's if y'all didn't get the scriptures. If y'all couldn't hear me, then, until 12, 38, 8 through 12. Okay? 8 through 12. You can read all these scriptures, guys. And Isaiah 63, 1 through 6. Okay, those are the scriptures I just read, just in case y'all didn't hear me or whatever. Praise AHAYAH by Hashem Yashaya. So we got the 144,000 in the building. Praise AHAYAH, y'all. I pray you getting out of Babylon, get out of Ham's way. Matter of fact, sister, I'm going to close out with this video because Sister Chandel has sent me a video, and I pray she watch it. Shalom, Sister Chandel. About NASA just announced 100-foot wide fissure crack opened up Yellowstone volcano in 24 hours. Yeah, this. Oh, hold on, wait, hold on. I can't do it. Let me stop sharing. I'm gonna redo it. Okay, hold on. Okay, here you go.
Careful, as a 100-foot wide crack has just opened up in less than 24 hours. What is causing the crack and what does it mean for the national park and its surroundings? Yellowstone National Park has something for everybody, which is why it's a popular destination for tourists worldwide. Among them is the Grand Canyon. The Yellowstone River carved this magnificent canyon, which is 20 miles long and 1,200 feet deep. Lower Falls, where the river tumbles 308 feet, twice the height of Niagara Falls, before striking the canyon floor with such force that it sends foam and mist hundreds of feet upward, dampening the rock so constantly that bright green moss grows high above the water, is its most famous and widely photographed feature. As the water races along and eventually stops foaming, it appears green, but it's completely clear. The river's color is caused by algae and moss. There is also the Mammoth Hot Spring, created by heat, water, minerals, and limestone all working together to form the famous feature, where variously colored travertine, a type of calcium carbonate, has been dissolved from the limestone beneath the ground and carried to the surface by rising springs of hot water. And despite the fact that some springs and terraces die, the total flow of water inside Yellowstone is surprisingly constant as new flows spring to the surface. Minerva Terrace, with its uncanny resemblance to an ornately carved staircase, is one of the most striking features here. There is also the mud volcano area of Yellowstone, which you'll smell before you see it. The noxious odor is caused by sulfur, which is also responsible for the mud's hissing and gurgling. The sulfuric acid in the pots eats away at the surrounding landscape, creating an eerie yet captivating, otherworldly atmosphere. Another popular area in the national park is the Upper Geyser Basin, which contains the most geothermal features in the park, including the famous Old Faithful Geyser. This is the place to be if you want to see a geyser erupt. The park can predict the eruptions of 5 large geysers in the Upper Geyser Basin. And all of these features have something in common, something hot and fiery that you don't want to encounter: a volcano. Yellowstone is known for being a place tightly connected with volcanoes, and the effects of the volcano are manifested in multiple ways around the park. However, a new manifestation is forming, and it is scary. In just 24 hours, the park developed a vast 100-foot wide crack. This forced the park authorities to close off a large section.
عزيزي، فلنحتسي الشراب في منزلي.
من هذا؟ قلت أنك تتسوقين مع صديقتك.
أرجوك، إنه قائد تحالفنا.
As they carried out urgent investigations to determine what was going on and what it meant for the area's topography. The fissure was discovered in an area known as Teton in the Wyoming section of Yellowstone Park. Meanwhile, Teton is no stranger to volcanoes. In fact, the rugged grandeur of the Tetons is the result of 4 geologic factors: tough, hard rocks in the core, vertical uplift, the age of the mountain-making movement, and dynamic forces of destruction. Many other mountains in Wyoming have equally hard rocks in their cores and an equal amount of vertical uplift, but they rose 50 to 60 million years ago and have since been eroded. The Tetons, on the other hand, are Wyoming's youngest range, dating back less than 10 million years, and thus have not been as deeply eroded. Any steep slope or cliff is especially vulnerable to nature's destructive methods. The Tetons represent a never-ending struggle between two opposing forces. The first is the rock's extreme toughness and, as a result, their resistance to erosion. The second factor is the presence of efficient transportation agencies that move all rock debris away from the mountains and away from the lower slopes. The majority of the Teton Range's rocks are among the hardest, toughest, and least porous known. As a result, they are resistant to mechanical disintegration caused by temperature changes, ice, and water. They are primarily composed of minerals that undergo very little chemical decay in the cold climate of the
Israel.
Tetons.
I gotta
The
go.
absence of weak layers prevents the tough rock masses from collapsing under their own weight. All of these conditions favor the preservation of steep walls and high rock pinnacles. Nonetheless, they do degrade. Great piles of broken rock or talus that festoon the slopes of all the higher peaks bear witness to erosion's unrelenting assault on the mountain citadels. Things are far from static here, as a wide range of daily and annual temperatures causes minute contraction and expansion of rock particles. Stress and strain are produced by repeated volume changes. So although the Teton's rocks are extremely dense, they eventually yield and a crack forms. Water that seeps in along this surface of weakness freezes and expands, prying a slab of rock away from the mountain wall, either overnight or during long cold spells. Repeated frost wedging, as the process is known, eventually causes the slab to tip and fall. And what becomes of the rock slab? Well, depending on the slope of the mountain, it could fall and roll hundreds or thousands of feet. As it encounters obstacles, pieces break off. All of the fragments make their way to the valley floor or slope, where they briefly rest. As a result, gravity moves rock debris over significant and easily observed distances. This debris is not stationary, though. If it's mixed with snow or saturated with water, the entire mass may flow slowly like a glacier. Some can be seen on the south side of Granite Canyon, and one nearly a mile long can be found in the valley north of Eagle's Rest Peak. The numerous snow avalanches that thunder down mountainsides after heavy winter snowfalls also play a role in gravitational transport. Loose rocks and debris are carried down the mountainsides by the moving snow to the talus piles below. Trees, bushes, and soil are swept away from the slide sites, leaving visible scars down the slopes and exposing new rock surfaces to water.